What's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of the Bronx Muchachos podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and today we got Dave.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another fun, exciting week.
And we got Danny with us today.
What's good, everybody?
All right, everyone, please remember to subscribe, like, review, rate, all that fun stuff out on Apple Podcasts, and also listen to us anywhere you get your podcast subscribers. So this week in Yankee baseball, guess what? We got some old friends, and we got some new friends around the way. Yankees are in Minnesota. Glaber giving big hugs over to Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela pushing everybody away. You know, and then Dave, we got some new friends with us today.
That we do, man. We got some new friends we have recently come in contact with. They're all the way from my neck of the woods in New England. They're from Norwich, Connecticut. They've been doing the podcast game for about a year and a half now, give or take. So without further ado, we got Chris Nod and we got Scott Fryer from Bronx Baseball and Beer Podcast. What's going on,
What's
fellas?
up, guys?
Welcome to the show.
What's going on,
Thanks
guys?
for having us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for joining
Thanks
us.
for coming.
So for all of everyone who listens here, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Niner, you want to go? Okay, so we are Bronx Baseball and Beer, and we are Yankees podcasts. We also we also dive into Major League Baseball, the top stories of whatever's going on at the time. We dive into that too, but mainly our hour show is Yankee centric, probably like the first 20, 30 minutes, depending on what's going on. We're breaking down the week that was in Yankee baseball, just like you guys do. We've been doing it now for about 15 months, give or take a week, a few days. Where we just had our 55th episode, and we do live streams all the time. Like tomorrow night, we have a live stream we actually have two sets. We actually have the studio set. If you watch the show, we sit at our table, and then we have a bar that we actually built. We have a no kidding bar, and we're stocked with booze. We got a guy bringing us a keg. We have a kegerator, so that we saved that. We're gonna do. We saved that for the live stream. Like we're going to live stream the Yankees Cubs tomorrow night. We go on the air, and you've seen it all before. Listen, MLB is starting to do it too. If you have seen MLB Network has a show where they have CC Sabathia and a couple other guys, and they sit in recliners and they watch a game and talk about it. So they're biting off our ideas, Nader. And but it's a good time, man. We really enjoy it. Nader and I, besides being Yankee fans, we have a very good. A very good rapport together. We feed off each other. We don't always agree on everything, but that would be boring if we did. But when you're watching our show, you're not getting dead air. You're not getting the same talk every week. It's not the same old thing. You never know what you're going to get when you watch Bronx Baseball and Beer, and that's kind of been our thing since we started.
Scott, you came in hot with that intro, bro. I love that.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Listen,
Man.
Scott's a stud, man. He on our show, he kind of runs. He formats the show really well. He comes prepared. Basically, I kind of give him free reign to come up with the topics because it's basically we both know what we're going to be talking about anyway. So, we're having a lot of fun with it. And we're really excited to be on the show with you guys. I think this will start to turn into a thing. I can already tell the vibes are good. We were talking before the episode started, and we've been talking throughout the last couple of weeks. So we're excited to be here, and we appreciate the opportunity to come on with you guys.
Oh, likewise, man. We really appreciate you guys coming on, and definitely the vibes are always good. We're always looking to hang out and talk baseball with good people. Everyone who fits in, we like people who kind of fit into the same mold as everyone, just chill, hang in back. You don't have to have the same opinions as everybody else here, which is great because it makes it more entertaining. At least.
And Mark, let's not mention that these two guys, just like me, being a Yankees fan from New England, we're like a rare unicorn, that we're like this mythical creature that people don't know exists. So this is great.
Well, yeah. Well, you guys are on the other side of Connecticut, right? Like closer to Providence and Rhode Island. And
Yeah. We're only like 12 miles from the Rhode Island border. Now, I was born and raised in New Jersey, like in the suburbs of the city. So I grew up on the Jersey Shore. So I grew up a Yankee fan. I grew up a Giants fan. I grew up a Knicks fan. I grew up a Devils fan. So, I'm a New York sports guy. And I moved here. The military took me here in 1991. And it was a kind of like a different world for me coming here, and I'm like, I'm surrounded by Patriots fans. My favorite thing.
Don't hate on us.
No.
Patriots
Listen, my favorite thing here. I don't hate on the Patriots. I actually like the Patriots. I'm a big Brady fan, but not to get off the baseball thing, but
Yeah.
I have here. I have work at the shipyard boat, and there's, as you can imagine, we got people from Rhode Island and Connecticut working there, and there's a lot of Patriots fans. And on Mondays after a Patriots loss, you can hear a freaking pin drop in the shipyard. And we like to call it Sad Monday. So Sad Mondays are kind of my favorite thing now. It's the only thing I got, because New York sports have been in the gutter the last 10, 15 years or so. So the Boston sports have been killing it with the Celtics and the Pats and the Sox and the Bruins even. So we'll be back.
Yeah, we will. Well, the Rangers are playing right now, so hopefully they take care of their business tonight.
I was thinking about this earlier in the week. This is kind of reminding me of '94. I mean, I was only 4 years old at the time, but you have Messier and
Jesus
and
Christ,
the
you make me Daddy, when you say those things, you always make me feel old, brother.
I was an E5 in 1994.
Mark, I'm sure you got gray hairs older than me, but
Gray
this
hairs
reminds
and
me of
socks.
that time. Yeah, like with the Rangers and the Yankees in '94 were one of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah,
had it not been for the lockout, it could have been like a Expos Yankees World Series. That would have been cool. So this kind of reminds me of that time when hockey and baseball kind of dominated. So
And basketball in '94 too. Don't forget basketball, because the Knicks went to Game 7.
The Knicks were actually good.
Yeah, Knicks took a 3-2 lead back to Houston. We all know what happened there, so we won't talk about
John Starks.
John Starks.
Still have nightmares. Still have nightmares over it.
7 for 22.
Well, speaking of taking care of business, the one person not taking care of business tonight was Gerrit Cole, and kind of brings us to our first topic of Nestor versus Cole for ace of the staff. And before tonight's shellacking that took place, Cole 5-1, 11 games and starts, 2.78 ERA, 62.4 innings pitched, 15 walks, 81 Ks, 11.3 K per 9, 1.6 WAR. Nestor, after last night's game, 5-2, 11 games and starts, 1.96 ERA, 64 and a third innings pitched, 14 home runs, 71 strikeouts, 9.9 K per 9, 2.3 WAR. So I ask all of you, who's the ace?
Ooh, who wants to take this one first?
Rock, paper, scissors.
You know, you guys are the guests. You goes first. You guys go first.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go first, as Joey Gallo just went deep for the second time tonight.
Yeah, what's up with
Oh,
that?
wow.
Oh
Let's
my
go,
God,
baby.
Bob.
His stock is at an all-time high. Time to get rid of him.
Yep, trade him.
This could change my whole theory about the other topic we're going to talk about tonight. We'll see. Oh man, listen. As far as Nestor and Gerrit Cole, I mean the numbers don't lie, right? I mean Nestor Cortez has the better numbers. He's been more consistent. I think when you talk about an ace, you're talking about two different things. I think you have the ace of the staff, who is your horse, the guy that you're supposed to depend on, the guy that is making the money, and he's the face of your pitching rotation. And then you have the ace, who's the best pitcher in the rotation, and right now that's Nestor Cortez. For me, if I'm going big game right now, I think it's no question. I think it's Nestor Cortez.
Yeah,
no, it's all good. I think we need to see, and we talked about this on our last episode. One of the topics that we talked about was, the pitching's been great. Everything's been awesome with the pitching. However, we need to see Gerrit Cole shut down the Minnesota Twins, right? We need to see him shut down the Red Sox. We need to see him shut down the Blue Jays, consistently, and maybe not every start, because we know he's not going to be good every single start. But when the big games are on the line, I think right now it's Nestor. And as far as big games go, have we really had too many big games? Not really. But if I'm picking a guy that's the ace of the staff right now, it's no question Nestor Cortez. And Cole just needs to figure it out and needs to stay a little bit more consistent. He's been good up until tonight, but I mean, overall, Nestor's the guy right now this year.
Yeah, even despite what happened last night, I mean, that was a one-off, I think. But if you go, I mean, I hate doing it, but I don't know why I torture myself. I go on Yankees social media during the game and I flip through and I look at what some of our quote unquote fans are saying, and I already see in the first inning I saw people on other pages saying that Cole was a bum and he's dead money and he's not even the third best pitcher on our staff, and just people, I get so frustrated. I mean, Nader and I almost had a whole entire episode about poser Yankee fans and how they're so finicky, and most of those people haven't been around baseball long enough to understand how this thing works. I mean, baseball season is a grind, guys. You know that. You're not going to go out and you're not going to win 20 games. You're not going to be 20-0. The days of when Clemens won 20 straight games, 20 straight starts, that doesn't happen anymore. It happens to the best of them. Verlander got shelled a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was in Seattle. It might have been Seattle. It could have been somewhere else. I don't remember. Verlander got shelled. I think he gave up 6 home runs in that game. So baseball, like John Sterling says, that's baseball, Susan. It's frustrating as it is for us fans to watch that happen. It happens. And, I was being a fanboy earlier saying that the Twins are stealing signs. And it doesn't make sense to me how Cole can be so lights out and have a 2.5 ERA and then give up 5 home runs to the freaking Twins. I don't get it. But I mean, I'm with Nader. If I had to win one game right now, we were to go where we're playing the Blue Jays or the Rays for the division title to win the American League East. I'm going Nestor 10 times out of 10.
And there's a lot of merit to what you guys are saying, and a part of me agrees, but I'm gonna go the other way because I feel like Gerrit Cole, he's getting paid the big bucks. He's got to be put in those positions, right? Win or lose, we got to go with the guy that we're paying the most and the guy that has the pressure on him. When you think about the Yankees and you think about our starting rotation, it starts and it ends with Gerrit Cole. Nestor's having a great year, so everybody in the rotation is having a great year, but Gerrit and DJ just went deep to make it 7-5. But when you have Gerrit Cole in that rotation, you're not going to look the other way. Other teams may be more fearful of Nestor of how he's pitched, but Gerrit is the guy that if the Yankees want to win a World Series, Gerrit needs to be the guy that we're pitching in games 1, 4, and 7, right? So it's great to have Nestor as the backup. When we won in 2009, we had CC, AJ, and Andy. So I would love to envision our rotation maybe a little bit deeper. We could go Cole, Monty, Cole,
Sevy.
not Sevy, Nestor.
Taillon.
Sorry. Cole, Nestor, Sevy, Monty, Taillon. They're all gonna get mixed up into that, whole type of rotation. But Cole needs to be the guy, 1, 4, and 7, and I'll still go with him.
I hear what you're saying. I've been fully on the Nestor bandwagon, and I still can't jump off. I mean, he just does nothing but he throws darts, and he goes from different angles. He doesn't have the overpowering stuff, but what everybody can't hit him. I mean, last night has been the outlier for his past 20 starts. So where Cole's kind of been up and down, he's had, take away the injury last year, right? So we'll take all that away because he was still injured against Boston. You take that all out of the equation. He still has had an up and down last year was up and down season. Starting off this season, he was up and down. I mean, he wasn't even putting away the Orioles at one point. I mean, that's not something that our ace is supposed to do. Our ace is supposed to go out there. He's supposed to shove every time he's on the mound. Granted, he's going to throw a clunker here and there, right? But when it's 1 versus 1, our 1 is supposed to be better than their 1. If you're going to go against the guys like the Red Sox, go against the White Sox, go against Toronto, not just Toronto, but Detroit. He threw up you talk about clunkers. He threw up a clunker against Detroit. Like what is it? He went 2 1/3 or 2 or 3 1/3 or something like that. I mean, that
2/3 of an inning.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that was absolutely trash by Cole. And that's not saying he's the worst pitcher in the world, but he has that right there shows he has to be better. And he's got a lot of things that the mechanics are still, he's still working through mechanical problems. I don't want to say it's the spider tack or the tacky things anymore, because he's got enough time now to figure everything out. It's mechanical now, and it's probably between his ears as well. But he's got the paycheck, so he wears the crown. Heavy is the crown that you wear, right? He wears that crown. He wants to be the go-to guy. He's got to prove it right now. He can slide into number 2 and let Nestor take the reins, because Nestor's too loose, man. He's good to go. He doesn't care if he's number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 5. He just tell him you're pitching every 5th day. He's going out there to pitch every 5th day. So for that, Nestor's my guy right there, because he's.
Well, I wanted to piggyback on what you said there, because to me, as a person who loves baseball, who's been watching baseball for 40 something years, you want your ace to, when he takes the mound, like, you feel like every time that guy steps on the bump, that's a W. Every single time that he walks out, you feel like that's a W. And I don't feel that with Cole. I do absolutely 100% feel like every time Nestor takes the mound, we're going to win the game. Now, obviously, it didn't work out last night, but I felt that way about CC. CC was our guy. CC was our ace, man. We needed to stop a losing streak. You knew that when CC stepped on the mound, losing streak was over. Same with when we had Andy, that late 90s pitching staff. We needed to stop the bleeding. Andy was our guy, man. I don't feel that with Cole, man. I haven't felt it since he's been here.
I mean, there's certainly been times when Cole's been the stopper. I think that's something that he needs to prove this year, though, because today was a great opportunity for him to be a stopper, and he completely just, I want to use another term, but he just did not show up tonight, So
he did an Amber Heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, perfect. Yes, exactly. So, man, I still want to choose them games 1, 4, and 7 though. I still want to run him out there. Despite whatever happens, I want the ball in his hands. Go ahead, Dave.
I'm really torn with all this. I'm hearing everything you guys are saying. Before tonight's game, I mean, they have almost identical records. Their ERAs are off by 1/10 of a percentage point. Before tonight's game, Cole's got 1 more walk than Nestor, 10 more Ks than Nestor. And like Scott was saying, I'm not really feeling confident every time he steps on that mound. It's kind of like, okay, which one's going to show up? You know what I mean? And, like Scott and I were talking before we jumped on here, man, if he wasn't such a head case, if he wasn't so wound so tight in his head, I think he'd be fine. He just needs to loosen up a little bit. He tries too hard to be a perfectionist, and it comes back and bites him in the ass. And until he can figure out how to get out of his own head, we're going to keep saying this. It's not about the sticky stuff anymore. And for the playoffs, like, it all depends on who you're facing. I mean, I want to win a World Series just as much as the next guy. And if that means sacrificing Gerrit Cole to make that happen, then so be it. You play the hot hand. Now, do I think Cortez is going to keep on this pace that he's been on for the first half of the season? I'd like to think so, but these guys are human. You don't know what's going to happen. He could fall off the face of the earth the second half of the season and be complete trash, like we saw with Miguel Hernández back in 2018, where he was on a tear the first half of the season, and he lost his next 10 starts or something like that. End of the year at 14-10 that season. You just don't know what you're going to get. Like I said, it would be a matchup-based decision for me to depend on whether or not I'm going with Nestor or going with Gerrit. So I'm undecided.
That poses a good question. That poses a good question for me. When you got a guy like Cole who's been there and done it, he's pitched 200 innings, he's been elite in this league. Compared to where Nestor is right now, who do you feel more comfortable with going down towards the end of the season? Because Nestor hasn't done it yet.
I hate to keep bringing up a sore subject, but Gerrit Cole was doing it with a team that was stealing signs and banging trash cans. Not taking anything away. I'm not taking anything away from him, but he was winning games based on what that organization was doing at the time.
Yeah, but don't forget he was also
out of that.
Yeah, but he was
now
also
he's out of that environment. You're gonna and they took his. I don't want to use spite attack as an excuse, but he's got to get it out of his head.
I think if I could, I mean, listen, I pitched in college. I was a pitcher my entire life. I love the science of pitching, right? So when I'm watching a game, I'm that weirdo that's looking at, what his mechanics look like. Is his arm angle off? Is he not driving off of his back leg? To me, I'm seeing a lot of mechanical issues with Gerrit Cole. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been watching him since last year. He was a stud all season long for the most part, right? So tonight, like Scott was saying, oh, well, I think they're stealing signs. Maybe they're tipping some pitches, but they're using the pitch comm now. So I think that's more or less something that is to the wayside. But what I see with Gerrit Cole is that he's relying a lot more on his cutter now. Like this cutter, like a lot of the Yankee pitchers are throwing cutters now. You're seeing Severino who's using it, and it's working out great for him. Some guys just don't have it. Like a couple of the home runs he gave up tonight were off of his cutter, and it was flat. It wasn't moving. It was left out over the plate. And Cole, he almost kind of looks like he's just laboring out there. Like every inning, it's just like he looks like he's not himself. It looks like I don't know if he's tired or if he's just like still trying to figure it out. I don't know. I don't know if maybe the delayed season and the lockout had something to do with it. But I mean, to Dave's point, and Danny's point too, when he was in Houston, I mean, he was nasty in Houston. He was nasty. Yeah, they were using the trash cans, whatever. He was pretty much unhittable. And he also had a guy like Justin Verlander too, like as like a mentor, right? That's why I told Scott so badly in the beginning of the year I wanted the Yankees to sign Verlander because I
was on that bandwagon too.
I think that Gerrit Cole kind of needs somebody to like keep him in check that's almost better than him. You know what I mean? Like somebody there that's going to just be like, hey, dude, like you got to figure it out. Let's go work on this. I feel like Gerrit Cole's kind of like on an island by himself on this team. You know what I mean? It's just like I feel like the guys have a tough time rallying behind him for whatever reason. And I think it's, he's taking a beating in the New York media. He's not throwing strikes. He's walking a career high guys every night. So I think for him, for the most part, it's mechanical. But like you guys said, it's between the ears. I think he's going to figure it out. I think he'll get on a streak and he's going to be fine. But he does need to pitch these big games. They're not going anywhere. We're going to be going to the playoffs here this year, and we're going to need him to show up. And if he doesn't, what's the point of all of it? So.
And to piggyback off of Scott too, with him talking about Verlander, I was hot on Verlander too. I was so upset when they didn't want to offer him the $50 million, and everyone was like, "Oh, he had Tommy John surgery at 39. Who cares? It's Justin Verlander. You take that risk. That is a risk worth taking." And for a guy like Verlander, yeah, he could keep Cole in check and keep him on his game. Look at how much of a benefit it was to Andy Pettitte having Roger Clemens there for those years. Those two fed off each other better than anyone I'd ever seen in the major leagues.
I agree with that 100%. That's exactly what I mean with Pettitte and Clemens. Verlander and Gerrit Cole would have been great. That's exactly what I meant by that.
I'll even take it a little bit further. I'll take it even a little further back. Don't forget Wells and Coney. They started that thing off in '98. Yep. The two of them just fed off each other. Said, "Okay, you threw a perfect game. I'm gonna one up you next game. You did this. I'm gonna one up you." It just kept. Yeah. Oh, they were. Coney's stories are great. Coney's story. They would just go out. He goes, "Oh, by the way, you got to split us up in the rotation now. You got to put somebody in between us because you got two guys coming in banged up every night for the 2/3 of the rotation."
Do you guys think that Nestor and Gerrit could potentially have that type of relationship? Well, you already see them in the dugout talking all the time. Nestor's talking to pretty much every starter. He was talking to Monty about the cutter, and Monty's last outing, he was throwing the cutter. And Chris, by the way, I was a college pitcher as well, so I love that. I love the science of pitching. I look at mechanics all the time, and his arm slot was off tonight. The cutter was flat. There was no depth to it. But anyway, do you think that Gerrit and Nestor could potentially have that relationship where they're pushing each other? It seems like the whole rotations kind of have that where they're pushing each other right now, at least for that last time through.
I don't see. I mean, I see them like having a good relationship, and I see them, talking to each other about different teams because listen, they're all facing the same teams at one point or another. I just think they're two completely different pitchers. So I think it's. I mean, they clearly are, right? But I think it's difficult for Nestor to compare himself to Gerrit and Gerrit to compare himself to Nestor because Nestor's loosey-goosey, right? He goes out there, he has a good time. He's not really, too concerned about what's going on. As long as he's throwing strikes and his control is intact, he's a stud. Gerrit gets out there and walks a guy. He's a mental midget, right? Like he's just all over the place. He's got to be, like you guys said before, he's got to be perfect every single time. And that's why when I say like he's on a lonely island by himself, I'm not really sure he's got that person that he can like reel him back in. You know what I mean? I think him and Tyone have a good relationship from being in the Pirates organization together. But even then, Cole's like he's a different breed, man. Like I think a lot of people, I think Cole's got this reputation where like people kind of like stay away from him for the most part. That's the vibe I get when I see Gerrit Cole like in the dugout or on the mound. I don't know. That's just me, but that's kind of what I
look at what happened. Look at what happened last year with Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner tried to troll him and make a joke, and the guy was all bent out of shape about it. I mean, that's
Billy Crystal, right? Like Billy Crystal.
That's how wound tight he is, and just you can't. I don't know. Like, he's on an island by himself.
You guys are right. He's 100% on an island by himself, and I think going back to the question Danny was posing, is there anybody to push him? I think because he has the money, because he's let's be real, it's $36 million a year he's going to get for 9 years. Most likely it's going to be the 10th year because I'm sure Cashman will somehow make sure that 10th year option gets kicked in. But he's now pushed himself into the Verlander spot where he's looking to be the mentor for everybody else. I can see him being the one to try to push like a Sevy to make Sevy go to that next level. That's where I think that happens.
I think it's the other way around.
I don't see. Well, I think because him and Sevy, you got to remember something. You pitch by pitch. He and Sevy are very similar. They got both high heat. They got cutters. They got changeups, and they throw sliders. I mean, Cole's got the knuckle curve that goes with it, but I think the two of them can go 1-2, and that'll be, and especially when Sevy really comes back next year when he's fully recovered from the Tommy John. This year he's going to go through the dead arm. He's gonna be on the innings limit. So this year we're just going to get a taste of what Sevy can do. But next year is when we're going to really see Cole, Sevy go 1-2, and then everybody else kind of fall in line. Whether it's Monty 3, Nestor 4, whoever's going to be 5. If Tyone comes back or not, if Clark Schmidt's there. Any of those, go down the list of all the other everybody else we have in our minor league system. But I think Cole is taking over the spot of Justin Verlander, and he will push Sevy to push himself to be better. He's going to make him be more. I don't want to say more perfect, but throw with more consistency. Throw that fastball. Throw the changeup. He's going to force him to. He's going to talk his ear off about pitching. Get the science down behind it all. That's what I think.
I think that another thing I see, that's to your point, I think one of the things you see with this team that you haven't seen with teams in the recent past is you see this team kind of they kind of gel together, right? Like you say, you see them talking to each other in the dugout. They're having a good time. They're laughing. They're joking. I haven't seen that from a Yankees team in a lot of years. Like I can count probably 5 games. I remember this season alone that we would have lost last year, or the year before that. Games that we gave up the lead, but we fought back and we won the game. The other night against who was it? The other night against that we gave up a 2-1 lead late, and then they came back and they won the game. But that kind of stuff, yeah, it was, dude. That's how I know that this team is good, man. This is a good team, and there's a lot of good players on this team. I think they're winning despite there's not a Yankee fan that I know of, and if they are, they're lying, that knew that this team was going to be what they are right now. I mean, have we playing a little bit above ourselves? Absolutely, because only one other team has ever played on this pace before, and that was the Yankees of '98. We're going to come back down a little bit, but this team is legit, man. This is a good team.
I honestly thought we were dead in the water when we didn't sign a premier shortstop. When they went and got IK, I was like, what are we doing?
We were talking about this before we came on air.
Again.
Yeah, before we came on air, we were talking a little bit about that. And I know you guys wanted to talk a little bit about making some deals, but, the way we killed Cashman, every podcast, every broadcaster, everyone killed Cashman for not making a big move. Now here we are, 40-16, and he's like, "Look, how you like me now?" Right? And that does not bode well for us trying to get anybody else big. Like going to get a Soho or going out and get maybe we'll re-sign Judge. I don't know.
We better resign Judge.
I
That
would
ball
buy
just dropped.
myself too
It did.
It did, yes.
Okay, I can't see. I don't have my glasses on, but you know what I'm saying. Like this team is making Brian Cashman's offseason, which was absolutely horrendous. By the way, this team is playing great despite the lack of effort that Cashman put in. Because listen, I have a good analogy. We don't want to say it on the air. I'll tell you guys off the air. I have a very good analogy about Brian Cashman.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. You guys will like it. It's funny.
So
Can't wait.
speaking of Cashman and trades and whatnot, one person requested a trade this week, and that would be Miguel Andujár. So I pose to all you guys, if you had to deal Miguel Andujár, where's he going? Who are you sending with him, and what are you getting back? Chris, we'll start with you.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was at work today, and I had a little bit of downtime. And I did quite a bit of research, and I found it extremely difficult to find somebody to get in return. And the reason being is because Andujár for me is I don't really know if we can gauge him right now. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, he's struggled quite a bit. He was great for a while. He almost beat Shohei Ohtani out for Rookie of the Year. You know what I mean? Like, and then
he should have been beating him out. I mean,
he should have. That's no question there for sure.
And Shohei Ohtani, just to jump on the Shohei thing.
Yeah.
I've been kind of beating this drum for a little bit. This Shohei last year is the outliner, for his career. He has not been like this be all end all type of guy. Last year was a great year for him, and that's been about it. So thank you, Danny, for telling me that the Yankees.
What just happened? I'm in a different room in my house.
Is that Aaron Hicks? Aaron Hicks just hit a home run, folks.
Oh
2-run
my
home run.
Wow! Oh my God!
It's a tie ball.
Trade everybody. Trade them all. Trade them.
Trade everybody now.
Hicks hits one to the sticks. Nutter.
Oh my God.
I have the game on my phone. Tell me, Scotty Bergen's. Tell me, our buddy Scotty Bergen is the biggest hater.
He hates Aaron Hicks more than anybody.
Two guys that are crushing the ball tonight: Aaron Hicks and Joey Gallo.
Wow,
our buddy absolutely hates them.
Tie game.
Listen, guys, this is what I was saying. This is what I was saying 5 minutes ago. Last year's team, we would have just folded like a cheap tent, and now we're to tie ball game. 7-1. This team folds. 7-3. This team folds, man. Last year, this team is something special, dude. We may not win this game, but the ball's coming back.
Our good friend Paul Wooden, he can't stand Aaron Hicks either.
Find me a Yankee fan that can, but that was a bomb.
Yeah, that was a bomb. That was a good at bat by Hicks too. You love to see it.
A few years ago, everybody loved him. So I mean,
because the guy gets on base, but he's been an absolute bum this year.
I thought it was. I was maybe one of the few that thought that was like the worst signing they could have ever made. Like 7 years. Come on, like that's crazy. But
at the time, though, after the season he had,
exactly. At the time, it was.
Yeah, it was good, but I don't know. It's just one of those things for me. I don't know. I just had a bad feeling about Aaron Hicks, but no. So Andujár, I have a tough time like gauging him right now as far as what his value would be. Right. I did a little bit of research. There's some analysts and baseball people that say that he could still possibly play third base. I think that's way out of. I don't think that's even a question at this point that he's an outfielder. He's an outfielder now. If I had to pick a team that I would trade him to, they're not ranked very well prospect-wise, but there's a team out west that go by the name of the Angels that are consistently looking for help. They have two now. Trout's hurt. The other outfielder there that's having an unbelievable season. Was it Ward? I forget his name. Anyway, he's hitting a couple. Yeah, thank you, Ward. I could see like somebody like the Angels using Andujár. But then again, like, I think if we're going to trade Andujar for anybody, it's got to be some relief pitching. I don't think we need any more position players. I think we could go down into the minor league system and bring up some outfielders if we needed to for a fourth outfielder. The Angels came to mind, even somebody like the Oakland Athletics that, are basically selling their team off, but could use a guy like Andujar who is showing that he can come back and play, pretty consistently. He turned himself into a phenomenal outfielder from the looks of it. I don't want to, maybe not phenomenal, but he looks like he's feeling much more comfortable out there now. Pirates are another team, but I didn't find anybody really specifically that I would ask in return because I just don't really know what value Andujar has at this point because there's been so much of a time gap and there's been so much minor league play. So I think if anything, though, if we're going to go for a position, I'm definitely going relief pitching, if anything, for the Yankees.
Nada, you mentioned the Angels. A guy like Ryan Tepera jumps off the page for me, for Miggy. Tepera's on a 1-year deal. You're not going to get much for him anyway. He doesn't have a bunch of value. And when you include a guy like Miggy, maybe a 1-for-1 right there for Tepera, or Danny Jimenez from the A's, who's having a great year, at least, ERA-wise, the peripheral numbers are not looking very good with Jimenez at all. But he's getting saves when he does get the opportunity. So maybe the A's kind of sell him for Miggy. So those are two guys right there off the top of my head.
You make a good point, Danny, too, real quick. There was a guy that we got in a trade last year that had really bad numbers, and his name was Clay Holmes. So, just throwing that out there.
No, but like the peripheral numbers for Clay Holmes were the ground ball rate.
A lot of ground balls.
Still up, and the ERA was high, but that's because he was throwing a lot more sliders, probably a little bit more four seam, and he really wasn't sticking with that sinker. He comes to the Yankees, he gets into Matt Blake's room, and forget about it. Matt Blake's like, yo, that four-seamer, throw it away. That slider, let's refine it. And that sinker, which has become one of the best pitches in baseball,
it's his bread and butter now.
Dominant. So
absolutely.
But a guy like Jimenez from the A's, his FIP is like, his ERA is like a 2-something. His FIP is like a 4. His walk rate is like 4 or 5%. And those are just like numbers I want to stay far, far away from as a reliever. We looked at this last week when we're kind of going down the line of who we want to add in terms of like a bullpen help. And he was one of the names that jumped out to me just because of the saves. But I looked at everything else. I was like, yeah, no, that's a dub for me.
Scott, what about you?
I was trying to see if IKF was out there. Looked like he might have been out. Yeah, he's out. So I'm going to go the other way. No, they're not going to challenge that. Wow. I'm going to go the other way. I think that he's a commodity we can trade. And I also would try to package in Joey Gallo if someone would take him, right? Because you can't trade. Hicks is almost untradeable because his contract is too long. It's too much money for a guy. For what he's given you, what he just did 5 minutes ago aside, for what he's given you, you can't get rid of it. We're stuck with Hicks, until either he falls apart or his contract is up. But I would pick Miggy and Gallo and send him to the Kansas City Royals for Andrew Benintendi. I love that kid. I loved him when he was in Boston. I like that kid's energy. He's got wheels. He plays a great outfield, and he can mash. And I think it's a no-brainer, man. You got to see what you can do. Go out and get that guy. And if you could package Miggy and maybe Gallo or maybe another low-end prospect, that's immediately upgrading the team. Immediately. Not just defensively, but offensively as well.
Are you reading my mind?
Yeah.
You reading my mind? Because that's literally what I would – my God. See, great minds think alike. Yeah. So for me, I'm sending Andujar, Gallo, and Yandres Gomez, who's a 19-year-old right-handed reliever in low A. I was messing around with the trade simulator. Miggy's at a negative 0.3 trade value. Gallo's at 7.5, and Yandres Gomez is at 4. And then sending that and asking for our old friend Albert Abreu, who got cut from the Rangers and is with Kansas City now. So there's your reliever, plus Andrew Benintendi. So our package going to Kansas City is worth 11.2, and the value coming back is 11.10. So according to MLB Trade Simulator, the Royals are getting a better deal than we are. And you saw the instant out with Gallo. Well, despite what he's done tonight,
Plus, Benintendi's going to run the bases.
Exactly.
Benintendi can steal bases.
Benintendi's stealing bases for sure.
Yeah, man.
And he's a 300. He's a 300 hitter right now with 200 plate appearances. So
yeah, he's the kid's money. I like him.
It's a no-brainer.
He plays great defense, man. I would love to see him in the outfield.
And to trade him for anywhere else for any kind of prospect, you're not going to send Miguel Andujár and get someone back that's got years of team control either. That's going to cost you even more.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to cost you your Vargases, your Cabreras, your Volpes, your Perazzas, your higher end Wisniewski, Waldichuk, those type of guys that I am just not cool with cutting ties with just yet.
Dave, you're gonna hate my trade. I can't wait to talk about it. Go ahead, Mark.
Boy.
I want to go last.
All right. I've been sitting back on this one because the way I see it, Miguel Andujár, you got to send him to a team that he's going to get playing time. That's the only way that it's going to work. So, going to any contenders is out of the question. Got a team like the Royals, they're not really going to take him because they're in that rebuilding. They're rebuilding right now. They got Nick Prado that's about to come up. They already got Bobby Witt Jr. They got MJ Melendez, who, Danny knows this. I've been all over wanting to get MJ Melendez on this team. Power
Good
hitting
luck.
lefty.
That ain't happening.
I know it's not happening, but like I told you before, we had one podcast where we're talking prospects, and I said if we can make
I
a
want
deal,
to sell Perez, but that's not happening either.
well, yeah, but I said give me MJ Melendez, or he would have been my starting catcher this year, or go out to San Francisco, get me Patrick Bailey, but Patrick Bailey's kind of crap in the bed right now as well. So, I mean, prospects across the board, it's funny enough, they're not really performing. So, I would take a look at teams like I'd go the NL West, and I would take a look at teams like Colorado, and I would look at Arizona, and I'm looking at Arizona, and you can get Mickey out there, try for a 1-for-1 deal, and get an old friend back, which is Caleb Smith. Former farmhand from the Yankees. He was traded down to Miami.
He's still playing?
He's still playing.
Wow.
He was part of the Domingo Germán deal. So we got Domingo, and we sent Caleb Smith down there. So he actually did well down in Miami. Miami shipped him out. He's in the bullpen right now. He's a left-handed arm. Why not take a flyer on him? It's a relief pitcher. I think that's the going rate you're going to get for Miguel Andujár. You're not going to get. You're not coming anywhere near a top 15 prospect, let alone a top. I don't even think a top 20. So at that point,
No.
why take a flyer on somebody you're gonna have to invest more time and more money into, and most likely they're not going to pan out. Give me someone short term that the money's going to be right around the same amount. Relief pitching, you could always use, and he could come in as a spot starter here and there. Go as an opener. Especially right now, our pitching seems to be hitting a little rut in the road right now. I guess all those extra innings that they pitched for the past month have kind of caught up with them. So why not get somebody like that? And you can do 1-for-1. Let Arizona's got a lot of prospects they're going to be coming up with as well. You got Corbin Carroll and a couple other guys, but they're not there yet. So prove himself, and then he can move on and get traded off for more prospects for them, or get a bigger payday somewhere else. So I think a 1-for-1 Miggy for Caleb Smith kind of fits the mold right there.
I like the idea of the lefty arm too, because to be honest with you, Lucky, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I don't really have much faith in him, and really, who knows what's going to happen with Britton too? If Britton's going to come back healthy, I think you got to definitely, if it's going to be a relief pitcher, it should be a lefty if you can.
Oh, and don't forget we got Chapman who's throwing a bullpen session soon too, so he's coming around the corner as well.
Oh yes, we've all been saved.
Yeah. Hey, listen, not for nothing, Dave and Scott have very similar mindsets when it comes to players. Like I can just tell by their body language they're the same person. Like we were talking real quick about Chapman, and we were talking about him coming back and where he's going to be. I'm like, oh, seventh inning guy. And Fryer's like, not even close. He's like, he's not even pitching at all ever. He's not even touching the mound. I'm like, Scott, I think that might be a little much, but he's like, nope.
He can pitch batting practice, bro.
He does mop up duties. What he gets.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to hear Danny's though. Danny's gonna.
Danny's been on this one for a while.
Yeah, he's been on this kick for a while.
He's like, you don't know what I got coming, man. I got so hit us with it, Danny.
So in my deal, I kind of agree with everybody and thinking that Miggy needs to go somewhere where he could play. And there's a certain team in the Midwest that has a player that has a lot of versatility that would be a great benefit to this ball club. And that's the Chicago Cubs. I was going back between the Cubs and the Pirates in this. And I could go I made a deal for each team, but on the pod I'm gonna go with the Cubs, and that player's Ian Happ.
Okay? Thought you were gonna go there.
He's switch hitting outfielder. He could play second. He could play some corners, but he's become a pretty much a big league outfielder. He gets on base. There's a lot of power. He could take a bag or two. Now, where I would go is Miggy, Austin Wells, and they could choose Wisniewski or who's the other lefty? Waldichuk.
No,
Randy.
You stay away from my boy Kenny.
Which is why I said you're gonna
stay away from my boy Kenny.
You're going to hate this trade, but we get a guy who has team control for this year and next year. He's not going to be a free agent until 2024. And then we could go with a little bit higher value if we trade Gallo and he turns out to be something. You
can have Greg Weissert, you can have Sean Boyle, but stay the hell away from Ken Waldichuk.
God, that's going to
What happened? You want to keep TJ Sycamore or whatever?
No, you can trade him.
Come on.
I mean, Ian Happ, he's hitting 269, 27. I have him on my fantasy team, actually. I actually love Ian Happ a lot. 6 homers, 29 ribbies. I feel like the Yankees prospect class is so tough because you have so many studs and you want to hold on to all of them. Like I was devastated when I first heard the trade rumors, where Wells was going to go and Volpe was going to go. And I'm like Austin Wells is raking. Like Eli Fishman, who does writing he's a reporter for the Somerset Patriots. We had him on our podcast. He's all in on Austin Wells hitting wise. The dude's never going to catch in the big leagues though. So his first base.
I've been saying that too for about a year.
Yeah. And I mean, the dude rakes. He rakes. And he'll probably be a future if we hang on to him. He's a future first baseman, I think. That's what I'm seeing. But I love Danny. I love the Ian Happ move. I'm going to be honest with you. I forgot about Ian Happ because I would definitely try and make a move for Ian Happ if we could. I think we would have to be smart about the prospects we use, though. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a tough one, but yeah, I would send Miggy for Ian Happ in a heartbeat. No question.
So my thinking behind the deal is Miggy gets opportunity left over there. They already took a flyer out on Clint Frazier. He's only played like 19 games this year.
Dude's a bum.
Yeah, and it sucks. It sucks for him.
It does suck.
And then obviously the prospect value is going to be a lot higher because he has team control over the next 2 years, right? But I see us having a switch hitter in the lineup with the ability to get on base with some power. He's probably gonna have a little bit more power at Yankee Stadium, just like anybody else, or at least from the left side. And he's an average outfielder. He's not gonna wow you. He's not gonna win a Gold Glove or anything like that. And the Cubs get opportunity, even though Wells his caught stealing numbers are pretty good down in the minors this year. He's looked better as a catcher, so there's some hope, at least with some people in the organization, that he can be a catcher in the big leagues. Maybe strike while the iron's hot with the Cubs. Wilson Contreras is going to be a free agent. Throw Austin Wells into the deal, and one of our top 15 prospects pitching wise. Because if you look at their top 30, it's riddled with like outfielders or a middle infielder. The top catcher prospect is down in Double-A. It's hitting like 217. So throw Austin Wells into that deal. A guy like Wisniewski or Waldichuk or Randy Vasquez, who's on our 40-man, open up another 40-man spot and see what happens.
Here's the one thing. Here's a couple downward or negatives about your year deal right there, especially on the Austin Wells side. Number one, he's been on the DL or the IL for like a month. Like nobody knows what's going on. I heard he took a ball off the junk, so they just said, but that was like a month.
Yeah, that'll do it.
and that was a month ago. But he's been out for a while. Number two, the Yankees been on Austin Wells for years. Like they drafted him, I think, when they drafted him in 2020, but then they drafted him in like the 32nd round 3 years prior to that. So
yeah, they took him twice.
Yeah. So I mean they've always been on him. So and plus as a first round pick, they're not gonna give up on him that fast. Especially moving him off of catching. They're not gonna move him there until I think next year possibly. Like that's when he'll start seeing more time in left field, because I've heard the first. I think he's a first baseman, but I also think he could play left field because the arms. He doesn't have a strong arm. I mean, the arm is he's worked on the arm, but the pop times aren't there. The defense is still average at best. So I mean, being catcher. I mean, if prospect wise, we're gonna put all of our eggs in a basket for prospect, we're going with Antonio Gomez. I mean, that kid's got a rocket of an arm. He can catch. The hit. He's young, so the bat's going to come around at some point. The bat will eventually come around, but I mean, he's already got all the tools as a catcher. So Austin Wells can slide over. I mean, we got so many guys in shortstop wise. We got so many guys at shortstop. I mean, AAA, AA, high A ball, low A ball, complex leagues, Dominican summer leagues. I mean, we're just stacked right down the line with shortstops.
Yeah, don't leave Dominguez out of this either.
No, J-Dom, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for him to get called up to high A ball. That's where he needs to be moved up there. I can't see why he's not moved up there yet, unless they're sitting there wanting him to work on the fact that he's got like a 31 or 32% strikeout rate in low A ball, and they're trying to fix that, even though he had to rework his entire left-handed swing this past winter. So
yeah, they might want to fix that just a little bit. Yeah.
Whoever's working with him, they should work with Joey Gallo too. How many times is that dude going to strike out in a big spot? We had the go ahead run at third with nobody out.
He gets a pass tonight, man.
If Dylan Lawson can't fix him, then nobody can fix him.
Yeah, Dylan Lawson, man, what a godsend he's been, huh? Jeez.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's been great. Well, one thing I've seen with Joey just tonight, he's a little bit taller in his stance.
Mm-hmm.
His hands are a little bit closer to his body.
The first thing I noticed was his stance looked different tonight, right off the rip.
Exactly. And you see him getting to those high pitches. He's every time with Joey Gallo, when he was a little bit more crouched, you just knew, Judge, did he just go deep? Oh my gosh. Anyway, with Gallo, when he was a little bit in the crouch, those high fastballs, it was going to get by him. 95 plus, it doesn't even matter. It could have been 91. He was going to swing and miss. So seeing that adjustment tonight, although it took like 2.5 months to make that adjustment, like
except
come on,
for that
bro.
last strikeout, he's swung pitch out of the zone.
Yeah,
before tonight's game, he was 26 for 140.
Oh,
just freaking
so bad.
It's horrible.
So bad. But you want to see adjustments. And I was talking to my uncle about this. He was a minor league player. It's like I don't have sympathy for a person or a player that's not making adjustments. This game is you need to make adjustments. Chris, in college, every series there's adjustments in college baseball, right? You're not going to be pitching to the same guy the same way each series.
Mm-hmm.
But in baseball, at the big league level, it's every at bat where you got to make some type of adjustment. Yeah. And Gallo finally 2 months later is making some sort of an adjustment. So hopefully it pans out.
I think the Yankees have a lot of hope for him. And I think, listen, I tell Scott this all the time. I want nothing more than to see Joey Gallo succeed in New York. I think all of us do. All of us want to see – I mean, we don't want to see anybody struggle. But, Gallo just has not – he hasn't been the guy. But I think this is also what the Yankees expected with him too. Like, high strikeout guy, but he gets on base. He's going to hit a home run every once in a while, but he's just been atrocious. But the past couple nights, you never know. I think they're really kind of hoping that the rust just finally falls off of him completely and he can put together a relatively decent season and just drive some runs in, get on base. and you can't deny his outfield ability. I mean, his outfield ability's, top notch. So looks like we got the go ahead run. Rizzo. All right. Hey, that's all right. That's all right. Go ahead run. Rizzo with a base hit. Perfect.
My guy. That's my guy.
So let me ask you guys this question, since this is going to be a topic of discussion once people start coming back and getting healthy. There's, as you guys know, obviously they picked up Matt Carpenter during the Tampa Bay series when everybody got bitten by the injury snake. Who do you think stays and who do you think goes? Marwin versus Carpenter. I mean, Marwin can play left, right, third, short, second base, and a switch hitter. 15 for 61, 5 doubles, 4 RBIs, 4 walks, 18 strikeouts, slashing 146, 328, 626, 84 OPS plus in 28 games. And then you got Carpenter, who's just a home run machine lately. Slashing 263, 417, 895, and 1,311. So,
All right, Dave, to be partial here, tell us the at-bats. It's like 10 at-bats Matt Carpenter just had. I mean, yeah.
Well, Carpenter's played in 8 games. He's 15. He's 5 for 19, 4 home runs, 6 RBIs. So, yeah, it's a small size, but I don't know. I just figured it'd be an interesting discussion to have.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen enough of Carpenter. I like the dynamic he brings. I mean, of course, he has a majestic mustache, so that's pretty epic as well. But I like him.
County baseball look going.
We got him nothing, man. We got him for nothing, dude. Like, we literally picked that dude up off the couch.
For real.
I like Marwin Gonzalez. He can pinch run. He can pinch hit. He's like Luis Soho off the bench.
It's like an Enrique Wilson.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's a good
That's
analogy.
nice.
Enrique Wilson.
Yeah.
Or Soho's a good one too, but that's he's. I don't know. I'm keeping on that one, man. 'Cause I like both guys, and it would be hard to get rid of one guy.
I think I'm taking defense and versatility over Carpenter, and I mean, listen, I think it's great what Carpenter's brought. He's brought some fun, mustache and just randomly, he comes off of his couch probably playing Call of Duty and watching MLB Network all day, and he's dropping bombs in the outfield.
Well, he did play for the Rangers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He was playing for the Rangers.
Yeah, and I mean, and listen, he had a good reputation. He was a good ball player, and I just think it was. I remember seeing that, thinking, I'm like, this is right after all the Donaldson drama. I'm like, are they going to let Donaldson go? Are they like, is DJ really hurt? Right? Like when DJ went out with his wrist, I'm like, oh my God, is this like really what the season's coming to already? But I mean, listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Marwin Gonzalez. I think he's a solid ball player, but his versatility is unmatched. I mean, if you can put him in several different positions and the Yankees feel comfortable with that, I'm taking that all day. Maybe Carpenter hangs out for a while and he sticks around, but I'm definitely taking Marwin's defensive ability and his ability to run and steal bases for sure.
Yeah, definitely for his versatility as a guy you can put in a big spot to run, right? Because you're not putting Carpenter in for his base stealing abilities, but maybe a pinch hitter. But I'm with Notter. The versatility that Marwin Gonzalez brings is more of an asset. And nice to see that Sanchez hasn't lost his touch. By the way,
I was
waiting for Scott to say something too. I'm like, Scott's going to say something about that in about 2 seconds. He's going to figure out a good time to do it.
Yeah,
just on point.
Here, oh my God, he would go crazy with that because he hates Gary Sanchez with the strongest passion. So it sucks to see Gary not come up. Well, it's good for us now for him to be on the other side and not do his thing. So.
Listen, like I'm all good with everybody saying how hard he works. I don't think anybody really questioned how hard Gary Sanchez worked as a player. Like a lot of people came out and said that recently, like, oh, he works so hard. You can work as hard as you want. Doesn't mean you're going to be a good major league catcher, man. Like it is what it is. Like your work ethic is great. I'm happy that he's got good work ethic, but he's just not. He's not a major league catcher. He's not.
No, he's not a major league catcher, but. The work ethic thing was kind of the same thing that like Robbie Cano used to get when he wouldn't really busted down the first base line, or he looked like he wasn't really hustling for the ball at second base, but he made the move so effortlessly. They just kept on saying he wasn't hustling, he wasn't putting the time in there. And that's always the quote unquote code words that people have for, the Spanish player, the Latin players that are coming up, that somehow they're a little inferior to everybody else, which is total nonsense, if you ask me. But that's the knock that's always going to come out. That Gary came out, hit lightning in a bottle, was so crazy good, like the first 60 games that he was up there. Injury bug happened the next year. He came back. He carried the team in 2007. 2017. He was carrying the team 2019. He was carrying the team when everybody was injured. Him and Glaber were the only ones that weren't injured, and he kept going. I mean, yeah, he fell off the rails. But you know what? Honestly, speaking of Gary, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see everyone who talked all that smack about Gary. I'd like for them to say all the same things about Higgy, because Higgy's doing the exact same thing right now. But you never hear anybody, never hear it coming out about Higgy. Never.
Yep.
Are you guys watching this right now?
Flipping back and forth.
What?
I'm in a separate room in my house.
All right. I don't know what Rocco Baldelli is coming out trying to say that Glaber made a turn towards second base, but he was literally trying not to kill the first baseman. Trying not to kill Polanco.
The first baseman fell off of the bag, and Glaber like that. Yeah, whatever. Listen, managers are going to try and the managers are trying to argue everything these days. It doesn't matter what it is.
Baldelli's a crybaby too, so
yeah.
Well, Baldelli comes from the Joe Maddon tree. What do you expect?
Yeah, and he's a native, Scott. So he was an East Lyme. He was an East Lyme guy.
I know.
Right down the road from us, man. I'm not saying you gotta like the guy. I'm just
I went to high school with my cousin.
He was a nice player when he played. That's all I'll say.
Sure. He was a good Ray for sure.
I want Marwin Gonzalez on his team. I don't see a value to Chris Carpenter. He ever since hit those couple homers, he's been riding the pine since the regulars came back.
Yep.
I think that's the way it should be.
Yep. So, Joe Maddon got fired this week. So I know Mark's got a lot to say about this. I know a few of you got a lot to say about this. I will start this off with, I don't think Joe Maddon's a bad manager. I just think the new era of baseball just doesn't have room for him, people like him, La Russa, and Girardi anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for that era to just ride off into the sunset. I mean, you can't knock what Joe Maddon has accomplished in his career. I mean, he's a career 1,382 and a 1,216 win-loss record. Got a career 532 winning percentage. Ended the Cubs' curse of 108 years without a World Series in 2016. Took the Rays to their first AL pennant to the World Series against the Phillies, which I think the Rays would have ended up winning that World Series had that game not been suspended in the middle of it, which I thought was total trash back then. And the man's been a 3-time Manager of the Year award winner. He's just gone to bad teams with not that much talent, with the Angels aside, outside of Ohtani and Trout. But I just think the where baseball has, evolved into, I don't think there's any room for him in the newer way the game's being played.
He was one of the people in the forefront for that. He was the guy with Mike Scioscia. He was there tracing out every hit for every player. So he knew he was in the forefront of all the shifting portion of the game.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to with Joe Maddon, I never thought he was that good of a manager. I mean, I don't think he was the guy that. I don't think he was the reason why the Cubs won the World Series. I think they won in spite of him, is what I really think. Because I think he mismanaged that entire World Series, especially the pitching staff and the bullpen. Like he blew out Chapman's arm. I mean, I know it wasn't blown out, but he destroyed Chapman's arm. That pitching staff won and the team won in spite of all Joe Maddon's moves. So that World Series, my record books, it's not really a Joe Maddon win. It's the team's win over Joe Maddon doing that. Did he get bad? Did he get a lot of bad teams? Yeah, he did. I mean, the Rays were bad, but then what the Rays do is they did what they did, which is they drafted well, they got in a good position, but he couldn't get over the hump with the Rays, and then they tore it down. He walked out the door. Cubs, he could have had a dynasty with the Cubs. He had Rizzo, he had Baez, he had
Chris Bryant.
Chris Bryant, yes, thank you. He had Bryant, he had
Addison
Russell. Yeah, Addison Russell. He was good
when he wasn't busy beating on his girlfriend. Yeah.
Yes, this is
he
true.
had a lot of issues. He had a lot of issues. I mean, that Jay Hayward trade with the Jay Hayward signing was just ridiculously stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree with you. I think Maddon had it with the Cubs, man. I really do. I've never really disliked the guy. I never really had anything to dislike him over. He's I always call him the mad scientist. He's just got a different way of thinking. He's just a little off the rails a little bit. He never played really. He never played a day of Major League Baseball in his life, or probably baseball at all. But he understands the game. He understood the game. Somebody will hire him. Somebody will. I mean, listen, and Dave, you brought up a really great point with La Russa and Girardi. I personally, for me, loved Joe Girardi as a manager for the Yankees. I really did. I never had an issue with him, but as time goes on, right, they won in 2009. That was great, but you could see the progression of the game. It changed every year, and it just got, newer. It got younger, and Girardi just never moved. Like Scott and I were talking about the other night, the big orange book, right? Like he had that big orange book with all the analytics in it, and I think that
I had to see that thing one more time on my TV. I was going to scream.
Yeah. So, I mean, and listen, you want to talk about a team that's young. Like the Phillies weren't the team for Joe Girardi to manage. This team that Joe Girardi had with the Phillies was going to run all over him. Bryce Harper had already been taking digs at him, subtly, in reports. Like the day after Girardi got fired, Harper's like, yeah, well, when you play Bryson Stott every day, this is what happens. Like a total dig at Girardi. Like they had no respect for him. So yeah, I mean, La Russa's next. Let's be real. After the stunt he pulled today, he'll be on his way out too, for sure.
I'm actually surprised La Russa wasn't finished when he got the DUI.
He had two of them, dude. He had two of them
before he even managed the game.
He had two of them
before he even managed the game.
He had two of them before he got signed, and they were all under the.
Yep.
He had two of them, and they were like, "Oh, by the way, he had two DUIs." Come on, man.
Dude, he's sipping in the dugout during games. There's no doubt about it.
He's 75 years old. It's like, go home, bro.
At what point do the White Sox say, like, maybe we should maybe get a younger manager? This dude is.
Yeah, but it's an ownership. It's an ownership thing. Like the owner.
Oh, it is 100. The White Sox, they're horrible. They're horrible.
But the owner said, "Oh, we felt really bad all those years ago. We got rid of him, and we want to make this right."
That was back in the 70s.
Yeah, 70s.
I was just gonna say that was like way back.
I'm not
40-something years. 40 years later, you have some kind of guilty conscience,
and their team's paying for it right now.
Oh, dude, you're walking a guy on a 1-2 count. What is like? What? Like, what are you doing? Dude?
Good for Max Muncy. What he said afterwards. Everyone read his lips.
Yep.
Good for Max Muncy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. I watched Chan-Ho Park walk Barry Bonds with the bases loaded just so that Park wouldn't give up a home run to him.
Listen, Madden did the same thing.
Oh, well,
Madden walked the guy with the bases loaded. Right?
Yeah.
In the World Series
this year.
Well, no, he walked Barry Bonds in the World Series. I think. Bases loaded. Like now we're just. Oh no, that was Socha. That was Socha.
This was a regular season game I was talking about. Yeah.
Buck Showalter did it, didn't he?
Buck Showalter.
This was
did
a
it to
game
Barry
against.
Bonds. Showalter did it to Barry Bonds. I'm pretty sure.
The game I'm talking about was in the mid 2000s, like 03 or 04. It was the Giants and the Padres, and Chan-Ho Park walked Barry Bonds with the bases loaded. Well, actually, no, I take it back. It was during when Bonds was trying to break Mark McGwire's record for single season home runs. Park walked Bonds with the bases loaded.
Well, I don't blame him. I would too.
Listen, man.
Yeah, I'm walking Barry Bonds 9 times out of 10 anyway.
The reason I have so much dislike for Madden is because I get that there are progressive guys that want to change the game, but the things that he was doing it just wasn't working, man. Like these things have been around in baseball for 100+ years, man, and you're going to come in here and you're going to think you're smarter than everybody, and then it comes back to bite him. I thought the guy, I don't know, man. I thought he had that stupid smirk on his face all the time, like he was smarter than everybody else. And
he almost single-handedly ruined Chris Bryant's career by keep moving him around all over different spots.
Mm-hmm.
He's a third baseman. He put him in left field.
Batting the pitcher sixth. I mean, come on, dude, stop.
And it's ridiculous. And the worst thing is everyone says how great of a manager he is. He has the best player in baseball in Mike Trout, arguably nowadays. But Dave and I were talking about it earlier. But you have
Don't get me started.
I know.
He's
I just
not-
want
he-
to say.
Yeah,
But you have a unicorn in Ohtani, who, as I said before, his outlier was last year, was the only really exceptional season he had. You have Anthony Rendon, who's injured yet again, but
He's always hurt.
He's always hurt, and they spend another $30 some odd million a year on that guy too.
320 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah, smart money. Yeah, good. Artie Moreno, good job on that.
Over 700 million tied up between him and Trout.
I just want to go on
320
record.
for Rendon?
I thought he had like a 270 for like.
He
I thought it
was
was
in the
174.
Someone fact checked me, but he was in,
We gotta
I think he
fact
was
check
in the
this,
low
'cause I gotta-
300s.
I'm fact checking right now, and I just want to go on record as saying I've never believed that Trout's been the best player in baseball the past 3 years. Just throwing that out there. I don't think so.
No, not the past 3 years.
No.
No, not
Aaron
well,
Judge
I
has
mean,
more time on the field than Mike Trout does.
He actually does. The numbers,
Yep.
yeah.
But Judge gets killed for being injured all the time.
Yeah.
When Mike Trout is supposedly the best player in baseball but can't stay on the field,
know,
no one gives him shit about it.
Well, let me
Mike
ask you.
Trout
Never
pulls
says a
a-
damn thing to
Mike-
anyone.
Mike Trout pulls a groin muscle and he's out for 3 months. Aaron Judge punctures a lung with his friggin' rib and he's out there playing for a whole month and a half and doesn't say boo to anybody. So give me a break.
I got you all, but let me ask you this question: if you were to take the careers right now of Trout and Judge, not just taking the last 3 years, also, who are you taking?
That's tough, dude. That's tough.
I'm taking Judge.
I'm taking
because I watch
Anthony
Judge play
Rendon.
every day. I'm taking Aaron Judge.
Right, but you're talking. You're leaving out a three-time. You're leaving out a three-time MVP. What did we say before?
Who gets a hangnail and goes on the IL?
But that's only recently. Before then, look at his numbers before. Look at all the numbers before 2019, 19 and before.
Yeah,
He's played like 140 some odd games regularly. So I mean, he's got the durability.
Rendon was 7 years, 245.
Oh, all right.
Still a
lot of money.
Still
A lot of money.
Over 600 million tied up between two dudes.
Yes, I mean that was the year that Scott Boras broke $1 billion in contracts that year.
They're gonna have to pay. They're gonna have to pay Ohtani too soon.
Yeah, they do.
I don't think Ohtani stays in LA.
I don't.
Oh,
Think so
I know.
either.
I think he does. I think he just moves over to the Blues. Goes Dodger Blue instead of.
The Mets will go after him.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I can't even call them at Los Angeles Angels. They're not in Los Angeles. They're Anaheim. They
They're
play
Anaheim.
Orange County.
They've always been
different.
Anaheim to me, man. Always.
They play in Orange County. They don't play in Los Angeles.
Their stadium is in Anaheim, California. They put the Los
exactly.
Angeles name in front of it to make it more marketable for whatever reason.
Oh, exactly. And then they just cut out all of Anaheim
I'll
with
strike
everything.
LA Angels of Anaheim. Like, what are you lost? You need a GPS? You need a compass? You need a map?
You can't
You
get.
need someone to tell you where the frig you are? Like,
Can they get there off the 405 out there? Come on now.
yeah, right.
Now, hey guys, speaking of Angels, we saw something today. We saw something today
Pray or something.
from Angel Hernández, who is much maligned Major League umpire, who's probably the worst umpire in the history of Major League Baseball. He came out today. If you guys didn't see it, he came out today and said he's being blackballed by Major League Baseball because he is a minority. Basically, he's calling Major League Baseball racist. Come on, Gallo. For real, dude? Anyway, he's being blackballed by Major League Baseball because he's a minority. Now, if anybody who watches baseball knows that isn't true. He doesn't call games in the postseason because he's garbage. He doesn't call games in the postseason because he's a terrible umpire. I believe, just my feeling is that he said this because now Major League Baseball can't fire him. Right? I mean, they could, but it would look super bad.
Yeah.
So,
well, he's been on that. He's been banging that drum for a little bit now. You know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, look at Las Diaz. Las Diaz, same guy. I think he's also an Hispanic guy, obviously Las Diaz, but
Venezuelan.
yeah, I mean, we ain't saying nothing. Like,
I probably have a little bit more respect. Oh, sorry.
I mean,
Scott.
listen.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. It drives me nuts because that guy is really bad at his job. He's protected by the union, and now he's double protected because they won't fire him now for saying that, because that will look super bad on Major League Baseball if they fire a guy for saying that. I mean, all you have to do is watch him umpire a game. He's awful. He's terrible behind the plate, and he's completely lost in the field. He doesn't even know what he's doing out there. Every player in the league, you ask every single player in Major League Baseball who's the worst umpire in the league, 100% are going to say Angel Hernández. Every one of them.
Well, it's starting to trickle down effect, because I'm seeing reels on Facebook and Instagram of other MLB umpires. Like, there are pitches right down the middle. They're calling balls. And then there's one, I think it was the Reds and the Padres or the Giants or something. The ball was like literally 6 inches above the little white box they had, and they called it strike 3. I was like, and then there was another one with C.B. Buckner in Seattle where he called strike 3 on J.P. Crawford, and it was 3 inches below the zone. Like, it's a league-wide thing.
So we all have the K. We all watch the games. There's the K zone, right? So MLB. So there's a collectively bargained agreement that there is a certain amount of you can be within I think it was like an inch or two. The umpires can be within like 2 inches of the ball being off the plate, up, down, left, right, and it's acceptable for them to get that call wrong. What Angel Hernández does is complete trash. He can't see. He doesn't know where the ball is at any point. Strikes, balls, doesn't matter. Ball could be bounced. It's like Little League. Ball could be bounced in front of the plate and come up, and the catcher can catch it normally, and he'll go call it a strike. It's that bad. It's that bad.
Yeah. Listen, dude. He's not even like it's one thing if a guy's calling pitches off the plate, but if he's calling it consistently, I'm okay with that. Like, everybody knows that guy's strike zone. That guy comes in, his strike zone. Joe West, everybody knew what his strike zone was. Yes has started doing a thing this year where they have that meter, whether he's a pitcher-friendly umpire or if he's neutral or if he's a hitter-friendly guy. And everybody knows what his strike zone is, but Angel Hernández has no strike zone.
Did you guys see that Sunday Night Baseball with the Phillies and Milwaukee, and Angel Hernández was behind the plate, and he got like 84% of the call strikes? Like, at big league average for umpires is like 93 or 94. That day, he was like in the low to mid 80s, bro.
Yeah, Danny. That's what I'm saying, though. He said he came out and said the reason he gets low ratings on his scores, like because they rate every umpire after every game. The reason he gets low ratings is because he's a minority. No, it's because you suck.
Jesus. Yeah.
But look at last year. Last year, I was watching the game where Carlos Febles was the home plate umpire. The guy had a 16% strike call efficacy rating. Like, how in the hell are you letting someone officiate a major sporting event with that kind of effectiveness rating? Like, it just blows my mind. Like, my 2-year-old son could call a baseball game better than that. Like, it's just bad.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just gonna throw this out here. I personally think that Major League Baseball is going to try and make a very, very serious push for the robotic umpires, and I think they are really making it known this year that umpires are making really bad calls. I mean, it's like, for whatever reason this year, now more than ever, I'm seeing a ton of missed calls. Like, just, it's every inning they're talking about how the umpire. It's like the announcers and the analysts are talking about the umpires every inning. Like, we never saw this before. Like, I mean, of course we see bad calls, right? But like this year, for whatever reason, man, I am like, it's always about the umpires. Oh, he missed that. We're seeing a lot of batters argue a lot more like balls and strikes. I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, but I think MLB is making it a priority to pick on these umpires. And listen, being a major league umpire especially home plate umpire, is not an easy job, but they're really making it known this year for whatever reason. I'm noticing it a lot more for whatever reason this year than I have in the past.
Well, when's the CBA up with the umpires? Because there wasn't a negotiation this past year with players.
Isn't it next? Is it next year or the year after?
It might be.
I have no idea.
That might be kind of one of those things that they're pushing to show that more.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing it a lot more. I just think it's like, I mean, they're missing them bad. Like, there's no excuse for some of the calls that these guys are making. And I'm not even an umpire. I played the game for my whole life, but I mean, dude, these are bad calls. Like
I mean, the last
As a pitcher, though, how much would you love 2 inches off the plate?
Oh, I'd love it all day long.
I love it.
Love it all day long, man.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is that you're
West
getting 2 inches off the plate, but then sometimes you can have something down the middle and they're calling that a ball. So I mean, you give it and you take it away at the same time.
Dylan Cease threw a nasty breaking ball today, right down the middle, and it was called a ball. If you guys looked it up, I was like, wow, that's a really bad missed call.
I saw the reel on
terrible.
Facebook today. I couldn't believe it. It was an 84-mile-an-hour knuckle curve right down the pipe.
That dude is a stud, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That dude is a stud.
I don't understand how the White Sox are so bad. They have Giolito, they have Kopech that's coming back too. They got Dylan Cease.
Giolito and Lynn are still on the IL, I thought.
But I mean, they got stud. They have stud pitching. I can't. I mean, the people they got from the Nationals on that Adam Eaton deal is just out of control. How dumb the Nationals were. I mean, listen, the Nationals won a World Series, so I mean, you can't say it's that dumb. But they gave up so much for a rental guy, and Lucas Giolito was the headliner on that thing. I mean, wow.
Listen, the White Sox were my pick, man. I thought they were going to really take it like pretty far this year. I really did. They're like my team.
I didn't think they're not a bad team. I thought that the White Sox were going to have the problem of they would do well, but not well enough because they don't have any competition in the AL Central. They could beat up on everybody.
Absolutely.
They go, oh, okay, we're going to do good, but then the minute they're going to face real competition, they won't have the capacity or they won't have the fortitude to go up against that because they just didn't face it enough.
Right.
Speaking of the Nationals, the Nationals, Strasburg allowed 7 runs tonight.
This is the first game back, right?
Yeah.
What a
the Marlins
waste
scored
of
7
money.
runs off him.
That's
even better.
Good old Marlins.
That's even better.
I remember Strasburg Mania, man, when they were naming streets after that dude before he even pitched a game, you know?
Yeah. Well, he was throwing 99 at SDSU, man. He was nasty.
Dude, I used to love watching his highlights when he was at SD, and it was amazing.
Yeah, and then
but you're just waiting for the Tommy John.
College pitching. I mean, a lot of college people, man, they don't care. They'll throw 150. They'll let them throw 150 a game, and they're like, whatever, man. I got you for a real short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And the last
That's
thing
what they
I'll
did
say,
to Kumar.
Mm-hmm.
He threw 132 in that no hitter, and he hasn't been the same since. Now he's playing independent ball, and I hope he does well. I hope he gets drafted.
I hope so too.
Last thing I'll say about the umpire situation is I don't think they need robot umps. I think they need a level of a standard that if you cross, you are finished. Like during the COVID lockout or whatever, I was watching a lot of Korean baseball. And in Korea, if you screw up so bad being an umpire, you are thrown out of their professional league and sent back to the minors. You are not allowed to come back. Like that is how seriously they take it in other countries. And the fact that MLB has let it get to this point is just absolutely mind-blowing, where a home plate umpire can literally have a home plate umpire determine a championship series by one bad call. And that just not sit well with me at all by any means. When Aaron Judge is 6'7" and he's getting calls called at his shoelaces as strike 3, even in the 2017 ALCS, I watched Lance McCullers throw a pitch to Todd Frazier that was literally at his shoelaces, and they called it strike 3, and Frazier turned around and looked at him and goes, how in the hell am I supposed to hit that?
Mm-hmm.
So there needs to be a standard that they need to hold all these umpires to, and if they cross it, you finish, you're done, goodbye, see you later.
Well, I think they're doing like they want to do like what tennis does. They have like that kind of technology, and they're going to have it teed up for your height. They're going to have like the heights for each player. So Judge at 6'7", they're going to have the strike zone set up for that. So
I'll tell you what. Oh, sorry, Mark.
No, I was waving you on.
Yeah, no. So Johnny Gomes made a good point, and Scott and I talked about this on one of our episodes. Johnny Gomes was on Jared Carrabis's podcast, Baseball is Dead. And Johnny Gomes was like, you know what? I know they're protected by the union. I get it. But how awesome would it be if we could get a reporter in the umpire clubhouse and interview Angel Hernandez after a bad call he makes. You know, you guys are out here hammering Gerrit Cole for giving up 5 home runs tonight. What about the 7 missed strike calls that were a game changer for the Yankees or for the Twins tonight? What about the bad call that you made on the home run or the bad call that you made on the tag?
How you were squeezing Nestor last night?
Yeah, like I think that would make the game more interesting, because then the umpires have to answer to that. Nobody ever asks the umpires any questions ever.
They're not allowed. They're not allowed to. They can put. I think they can put out they put something out in their on the door of their clubhouse.
Yeah, because
that's about it.
Because they're union and they're protected that way. You know what I mean? But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that would. They never have to answer to anything. And you know what? There's been a lot of really bad calls already this year. There's been, I mean, over the course of baseball, obviously, but like this year specifically, some really, really bad baseball being called by these guys, like real bad. So
there needs to be accountability. There has
absolutely.
So,
guys,
bring it on. I would love that.
Dude, DJ is raking right now. I'm just saying.
I love it.
DJ continues to hit, dude. Quietly raking. Sorry.
So before this series, he was hitting like 248, and I was going to complain about it on the last pod, but we ran out of time. It just didn't come together, and I was just like, "Yo, like he needs to turn it around."
Well, he's batting 260.
I think he heard you.
Now. Yeah, as of right now, he's batting 260. He's 2 for 5 tonight. So I mean,
yeah.
I think he must have watched this podcast and saw that you were going to mention it, and I think he's like, you know what, I got to do it for the Muchachos, man. I got to turn it around.
Exactly.
That's it.
Thank God for DJ.
Oh, dude,
listen to us.
I was so confused. Were any of you guys confused when I remember when they signed him for 2 years, 2 years, 24 million?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
DJ LeMahieu, 2 years, $24 million. I'm like, what? What is going on here? The dude has probably been my favorite Yankee ever since he put the uniform on. In all seriousness.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I thought when they signed him, I turned around and go, okay, that's the precursor for Manny Machado coming over.
Exactly. That was exactly my thoughts too. Yep.
And Manny Machado's having an MVP type season in San Diego this year.
Oh yeah,
putting up video game numbers, man.
Whew. It's pretty disgusting, and he's still playing solid defense.
Oh yeah, he's always been a nasty guy like that, man. He's always been top quality.
That team is good, man.
The Padres
are good.
They don't even have Tatis.
I know it. He comes back.
Oh my gosh!
All-Star break. They said after the All-Star break he could be back. So
listen, just keep that dude off. And why do you got to drive motorcycles around like a
maniac? I was just about
bro?
to say he's too busy wrecking motorcycles.
Like why? Why do you have to do that, dude? You signed one of the biggest contracts in baseball history. You're like, why are you doing that, man? Come on.
The Yankees voided Aaron Boone's contract because he blew his knee out playing basketball, yet they can't do the same to this kid for wrecking a motorcycle, not once, but twice.
I love when they
spoke about it.
I guess the motorcycles weren't put in his contract.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, Tom Glavine, when he signed with the Mets, they put into his contract, you're not allowed to go skiing.
Mm-hmm.
It was his favorite thing to do. Can't go skiing. Like, oh man.
I love the interview they did with Tatis.
Sense.
I love the interview they did with Tatis. They're like, "Oh, how's your wrist from the motorcycle accident?" He's like, "Which one? Which accident are you talking about?" Yeah, which time? I was like, "Oh, this dude." I mean, listen, he's young. I mean, he's electric, man. He's a stud. They shouldn't be messing with him, putting him in the outfield. It's stupid.
They decide not even to give him
Abrams.
They didn't do the surgery on his shoulder. That's what he needs. He needs surgery on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't touch his shoulder.
Yeah,
man,
something's going on with that. I don't know.
No, I wanted to do a deal last year. I wanted the Yankees to give up Zach Britton and take on Eric Hosmer and take C.J. Abrams. That was the deal I was pushing for. I was like,
C.J. Abrams is going to be unbelievable,
stud.
Unbelievable.
And Eric Hosmer is having a turnaround year this year too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, polls.
I'm trying to get them up. Trying to.
Did we have any polls this week?
We did, but they were like a few days old.
Donaldson having a game tonight too. I think he's got a few hits.
There it is.
Yeah,
he's got a few.
Knock number 2.
Good old Rizzo chugging along.
Rizzo's moving tonight.
Love Rizzo. God,
I always love. I was one of those guys. I was not complaining when we got Rizzo back. I mean, I know that the average isn't there right now, but man, just like he brings the intangibles he brings to that team.
100%.
We're talking about how everybody's gelling. Like he's the kind of guy that he's one of those guys that brings everybody together. Like something that they've been sorely missing for quite some time.
Yeah. He's a great leader.
Our first base situation in the offseason was a win-win-win. It was going to be Rizzo, it was going to be Olsen, or it was going to be Freeman. It was going to be one of the three, and you can't go wrong with any one of those guys because Rizzo's one of the best defensive first basemen I've seen. I mean, let's be real. He's an absolute stud defensively.
He is very good.
He's not even a gold glover. He's a platinum glove.
He's a platinum glove. Yeah.
That means you're the best infielder, period.
It would have worked out fine either way with any of them.
With Rizzo, the analytics have not liked him at all.
No.
He's like a negative 0.3 defensive runs saved. And, the range isn't there for Rizzo, but he could pick it. And he could pick it with the best of them. Mm-hmm. And that's the saving grace because the guys are not uncomfortable throwing to him no matter where the ball is because he's going to catch it. And that's the benefit that he has.
It goes back to last year with Odor when he was playing third base for the first time. All Rizzo turned around and said, "Just get it over to me. I got you." And you turn around, you got a first baseman that tells you that. Like, okay, I can make that throw no matter what. If he got me, I'm going to get it.
Yep. He's a beast.
Well, we don't have any polls this week. We got them all caught up last week. So, that being said, unless anyone's got anything else, we can go ahead and wrap this up. Any final thoughts?
No. Yanks got to keep pounding, man. We got to, we're gonna lose some games, but we're just got to keep winning series, man. 2 out of 3. Keep winning 2 out of 3. We'll be good to go. The Red Sox have only gained 2 games. Or Red Sox have only picked up 3 games during this tear they've been on. So
speaking of the Red Sox, my cousin Mark, who lives in Massachusetts, sends me a DM on Twitter the other day. He goes, "Oh, hey, cuz, Red Sox are 18-8 since Cora shaved his beard." I'm like, and your team is still 12 games out of first place. Then he proceeds to send me a YouTube video called "The Final 4 Days" of when the Red Sox came back and won 4 straight against the Yankees. I was like, you know what, cuz? You know what's funny about this? You keep telling me I'm living in the past with my 27 rings, yet you talk about 2004 like it happened yesterday. I was like, stop living in the past, my dude. Get over it. Like,
we talked about this on our show the other day.
God,
I said it to Nader on our show. What did we do the show Monday? Yeah. I said to Nader, another Yankee hater said to me, "Oh, you guys haven't won in X amount of years, and you keep losing, and you guys don't win nothing, and you guys have all your World Series were before 1950." I'm like, dude, you guys keep telling us we live in the past, but all you do is talk about our past. Let's talk about it right now.
Yeah.
Talk about now.
And
we have a lot of baseball to play, but who's better than us right now? I'll tell you who's better than us right now. Nobody.
And then when I fired back at him, he's like, "Oh, I'll save this text for when you guys get bounced in the first round of the playoffs." I'm like,
do it.
It ain't gonna happen because your team's gonna be on the couch.
I'm still scared of Boston. I'm not afraid to say it.
Nah, I'm not. They have no pitching.
I think
they have no pitching.
I'm more concerned about their offense against our pitching. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm not really necessarily. They gotta jump over some teams to even get to us. But like, come down to playoff time. If we want to really secure that, we need to be able to freaking secure Boston and make sure they're not a problem, because they are a problem. Their lineup is nasty. I don't care what anybody says. They may be way back, but their lineup is nasty.
No, it's crazy the way that the playoffs are set up this year. As if it goes on today, you have the Yankees in the number 1 spot, but then you got Toronto at number 3, Rays at number 4, and I think Boston number 5 or 6 out of all the rest of the team. Like, there are 4, 5, and 6 are the rest of the AL East, because everybody else isn't going to make it. I mean, that's how it is right now.
The top 3 seeds are division winners, right? So it'd be us, the Twins, and the Astros, and then the three second place teams.
No, not second place. No, it's the 3 best. It's the next best out of the next 3. So,
all right.
So Toronto's got the best out of them, and then you got
Hicks again,
and then you got Boston. They're all better than the rest of the AL East or the AL. So like 4 out of the 5 teams in the AL East will as of right now, would make the playoffs.
All right.
Best
Well,
division in baseball.
Mhm.
Hands down.
Well, I think that's gonna do it for us tonight. Chris, Scott, thanks for coming on, being a part of this. It was a lot of fun, man.
Good times,
say
man.
it was a lot of fun. We gotta do this again sometime.
Listen. I hate to break it to you guys, but this isn't going to be the last time we're going to do this.
Oh
so.
no, oh no,
Not at all.
No.
No, for real
Don't
though.
tempt- Scott, don't tempt me with a good time, man.
Oh, listen.
We got to come out to the bar. We found a new watering hole now in Connecticut.
Yes.
Mark.
Oh
We gotta
gosh.
go.
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
man.
man.
Anytime.
When I come up to New York and I visit family, I'll be shooting all the way across Connecticut. To
Listen,
hang out with you guys.
we'll make it happen, guys. We can we'll get a show in the studio. We'll get a show at the live bar, and it'll be fun, man. We're definitely like big supporters, and we want to help each other out and make the best show possible, I think, for both of us. So we have a good dynamic going here, and I think we have a lot of episodes in our future between all of us too. So, anytime we'll have you guys on our next one, that way we can host it, and maybe we'll do a live stream or something like that soon. And it's a lot of fun. We appreciate you guys having us on.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Before we get too involved in our goodbyes, I wanted to show you guys something. So, as a special thank you, we're gonna be sending you guys some hats.
Nice.
Snapbacks. Chris, I know you're a fan of the snapback.
I'm a snapback guy for sure. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We got 2 new era snapback Bronx Muchachos custom made lids.
Love
we're
it.
gonna be sending to you boys.
That's
So,
awesome.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
Shipping
We'll wear them
info.
with pride, dude.
Hell yeah! So
Absolutely.
everybody following us on Twitter, the Gram. Our TikTok just went live last week. That's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hanging out with the younger crowd. Definitely getting a lot of views. So our social media is definitely picking up. So, and thanks for everybody for listening. Make sure you rate, subscribe, tell your friends. Give us a review. We haven't gotten a review since April 26th, people. Come on. I know you're out there. I know there's more than just 26 people that listen to us every week. So we know you're out there. Give us some feedback. Let us know how we're doing. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Podcast Addict, Podcast Republic, CastBox, all the major podcast platforms. We're bringing back the Twitter Spaces, trying to get that fired back up again. But we're all dads. We all got jobs outside of this. Even though people may think we do this for a living, we don't. We ain't there yet. Hopefully, we're there when we retire, also, like you guys want to do.
One day.
But Chris, Scott, tell everybody where people can find you, man, on the socials.
Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere, guys. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, Facebook. We have a pretty good following on Facebook. That's where we get most of our views and stuff like that. But we are on Apple, we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio,
Twitch.
Twitch. Yeah, we just started a Twitch channel. Yeah, just because that's like the new. That's it. We're learning a lot about this, just like you guys are. So Twitch is pretty big right now with the younger crowd. So we're streaming on Twitch as well. And then hopefully soon, we would like to get onto Odyssey. We've had the fortunate experience of meeting with the guys over at WFAN and maybe hopefully getting on Odyssey soon. So that would be pretty cool. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, we're everywhere, guys. Just, you can go to our profile, go to our link tree. We're on there, and yeah, looking to grow. And if anybody is ever interested in doing a show, like we want to definitely do more shows with you guys. This was way too smooth, way too easy to not do again. So we appreciate everybody's support, and we thank you guys as well. And make sure everybody goes out and follows the Bronx Muchachos and Bronx Baseball and Beer. We appreciate it.
Yep. So for Chris, Scott, Mark, Danny, this is David, Bronx Muchachos, signing off. Have a good week, everybody.